So we go to Bill Hemmer, co-anchor of America's Newsroom on Fox News. Wait a minute, what about Sandra? Let's put a ball on. What's
Hi,
up?
Hammer. Hi, Larry.
What's up with this reading? You know, I'm going to have to write everything.
I mean, this is
Bill Hemmer is going to go to the board and show us the election map because he does it better than anybody else in the business. And I think he's going to stick around while we have Sandra Smith, if someone would leave her name and titles up on this thing. But I know she does America Reports every day because I'm on. Oh, there it is, co-anchor of America Reports.
Hi, Larry.
Hello, Sandra, and hello, Bill. Bill Hemmer.
Yes, sir.
I botched this enough already. Let me just turn this whole story over to you.
You're good. I want to tell you a story about where we think the election is right now. And I'll start in the House, and I'll just go through a bunch of races across the country. And I can start here in the state of New York. If you talk to Republicans over the past month, they really believe, Larry, that Sean Patrick Maloney, the head of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, is in trouble. They think they've got an internal poll that shows their guy up. Is that true? I don't know. But these are the key races, Larry, in New York. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them on this page, the other page, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you got 11 races in New York. Yesterday, you had a poll from Quinnipiac that suggested Lee Zeldin, the Republican, is within 4 points of the Democratic governor, Kathy Hochul. Is that true? I don't know. But if it is, if that's true, if that's close to being true on election night, you're going to see a lot of these key races in the state of New York flip. And that's where you get the argument about Sean Patrick Maloney being challenged by Mike Lawler, the Republican. It's a district north of the city. Hudson River Valley runs along northern New Jersey and northeastern Pennsylvania. Just keep this in mind. I'm not saying they're right. We don't know if they're right, Larry. But if they are, a lot of these races here in New York are going to change. Now to the money, and there's a lot being spent, especially on the Senate side. Right now, we're just talking about the House. I'm going to show you 2 races here. Here's one in Michigan, all right? This is Lansing, Michigan. It's Congressional District 7. It's got some new lines now. Alyssa Slotkin is the Democrat. She's running for re-election, and she is being challenged by a Republican by the name of Tom Barrett. You know how much money they've spent in this district alone? This is a House seat. They're up to $27 million between the two parties. Slotkin, after the lines were drawn, has a less favorable district. And there's going to be a really tough race here. Abortion's on the ballot with a referendum in Michigan as well. But remember what I said about the money, $27 million. Come out to Nevada, where the story out there is the economy, it's inflation, it's gas prices. Las Vegas is down here, and this is Congressional District number 3. Susie Lee is the Democrat trying to win re-election against April Becker. She's challenging her. She was on Fox News Channel just about an hour ago. What are the topics there? It's gas prices, it's inflation, it's the economy, it's all of that. And this right now it's a razor-tight race. I mean, we think it's a true toss-up. But are the issues that I'll show you in just a second here going to prevail? And if they do, Republicans are going to have a very good night in places like Nevada that I just showed you. 4th point. The Texas border with Mexico. What is the impact of open borders over the past 2 years? How do people feel about it? Immigration. We've been watching it for some time. What we saw 2 years ago, let me draw it up here. Well, you see all the blue down here, Larry, along the Mexico border? There are spots of red that you saw emerge, and that's when the Republican Party thought, we got a chance of capturing Hispanics and Latinos. Well, how real is that? Well, you have 3 races that are considered toss-ups along the border with Mexico. That's Mayra Flores. She's being challenged by Vicente Gonzalez. She won a special election a couple months ago. This is Texas District 15. Monica De La Cruz, in all likelihood, is going to win that district. It was drawn more favorably for Republicans. So maybe you're up to 2 right now because Texas 23 is held by a Republican. Looks like a pretty safe seat. And this is the other one down there. This is Texas 28. Henry Cuellar is the last pro-life Democrat in Congress today, being challenged by Cassie Garcia. Can he win? He could. It's going to be really close. But you're going to see, Larry, based on the results down here along that border area, are the Republicans right when they make their argument that they are a true draw for the Hispanic population in America? And if they can prove that, Katie bar the door, because politics in America could change if there is a true switch among that population in America. Here's what we believe right now on the House side, Republican advantage, upwards of 232 seats, could go a lot higher, could go 240, could. That's what we think right now. On the Senate side, we're pretty sure of 47 Democratic seats. We're pretty sure about 49 Republican seats. There are 4 toss-up seats in the middle that are up for argument. I'll show you those on this nifty little graphic right here. All the states that you see in gold, we believe are legitimate toss-ups. Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. There could be others. We'll find out on election night or maybe the days after that. But those are the four that really you find the battle for control of the Senate. So that's where we are as of today, 20 days out.
Bill,
Larry.
First of all, fabulous. Totally fabulous. Couple things. Sandra, do we want him on set?
Yeah, come on
Cozy up
over,
with
Bill.
us?
Come
Put him
on
set.
over.
You know what I mean? The guy's good looking, and we should
I
have him
love
as
the-
close as possible.
I love the what if scenario in the Senate. That's amazing.
Well,
and by the way, not a single one of those states does not have inflation, economy, gas
Oh, I
prices
know.
as their top. You can say that about every United state right now.
This is, look, I crusade every night. The winning issue is on the inflation. The GOP has to do, frankly, almost nothing more than slam big spending Democrat opponents on the inflation question. That's what every poll shows. Rasmussen shows that. The New York Times shows that. All these other polls. The Q poll shows that. But you make some good points. On the edges, your border points are very important. And the GOP effort to pick off to win Latina Hispanic votes, that's an issue. We don't know everything we need to know about that yet, do we?
I agree with that. You know, what some of those who are really dialed into this issue is that they believe this is a group of Americans that are up for grabs.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So if you're thinking about family and you're thinking about money and you're thinking about inflation, well, I mean, they're there for the picking. Listening to your monologue, I grew up in Ohio, Sandra grew up in Illinois, and in Ohio, we heat our homes with electricity.
Mm-hmm.
In the Northeast, you heat your homes with heating oil.
Mm-hmm.
The guy literally comes to your house with a truck and fills it up from the outside or wherever your heating oil container is located. I never knew that until I moved here. And I tell you what, if you're talking a 28% increase on that big old barrel that's sitting in your basement, I mean,
It's brutal.
it makes a difference.
I just had on the head of one of those heating oil companies in the Northeast on our show this afternoon, Larry. I wrote down verbatim what he said. I've been in this business 26 years. I've never seen anything like it. He says, I don't know how people are going to survive this winter. He said he talks to his customers every day, who, by the way, he's offering payment plans to them. Some of them are choosing to pay for their bills now on credit cards, which good luck with that, with interest rates going sky high. He said, my customers are now choosing between food, paying their mortgages, and heating their homes. He's predicting foreclosures as a result of this. And by the way, heating oil is up. Natural gas, though, to your point, half of U.S. households use that. It's up 28% this year. Okay, the average home heating bill, if you use natural gas, is going to be $931 this winter.
Electricity. 10%, but I think that this is from the Journal editorial, and like I say, I've been doing other things today, but I think that's way too low. Because
it's already up, though. It's already up. It's up another 10% this year. But they were already paying record prices last year. The average electric bill to heat your home this year is going to be $1,400.
That assumes you can get electricity, because, you know, we've talked long and hard about California. You should buy your electric vehicle car, but you can't recharge it. Why can't you recharge it? Because no electricity. Why there's no electricity? Because there's no natural gas. Bill Hemmer.
Go chase your tail.
I did want to just sneak that in. By the way, I ran into the kid last night. I spoke at a group. Anyway, this young Lawler is the guy that might beat Patrick Maloney. I call him Patrick Henry, but he's no Patrick Henry. I was interested in Tiffany Smiley in Washington. You're still scoring it as blue. I think that's probably right. Cook's report, and Charlie Cook is a pal of mine. I think he's very good at what he does. He moved it from like totally 1,000% Democrat to leaning Democrat.
Yeah, that's
so I was interested. She's coming on the show later. What do we know about that race?
She's a fascinating woman. You know, her husband was hit with an IED in Iraq and blinded him. He is the first and only U.S. Army soldier who went back to full service as a blind soldier. She's raising 3 kids. She flies to Walter Reed Medical Center, and she says, I need to know everything because I'm taking on the U.S. Army and I'm doing it on behalf of my husband. They've got 3 kids. As she explains it, I had 3 toddlers and a blind soldier, and we're hopscotching all over America to every different Army base during the War on Terror and her husband's deployments at that point and after that. He wrote a book called Hope Unseen. He's an amazing man, and she is about as natural as you can find when it comes to being on very unnatural things like television. She is super normal and really has the heart of gold. And listen, the Republican leadership really likes her. Yeah, and you're gonna find out if you haven't met her yet why they're so big on her.
We had her on once. She did very well. I'm going to refine it like I usually do.
Your question, though, about Washington State,
it's a tough one.
Right, but Patty Murray's been in that office since 1992.
No, she hasn't.
And
she has been in that office since 1817.
Stop it, Larry.
Come on, fess up. And she has voted since 1817 for every federal spending bill that this country has unfortunately passed.
Yeah,
every one bill.
Patty Murray was born and raised in the northern suburbs of Seattle.
Yep.
All right, how long have we been reporting on the problems in Seattle?
There you go.
4 years?
For years at least.
All right, if they're getting the same attention that we give Seattle, don't you think the folks want to say, what's up with this? Is this the way we want to live?
They finally elected a Republican prosecutor or something. There was like the Soviet council running downtown Seattle. Sandra, though, let me jump shift a little bit. Biden out yesterday, I guess. He is still making the mistake that he's made from day one. Okay, they believe, Biden Democrats believe the issues are abortion and Trump, MAGA, semi-fascism, whatever you want to call it. Every single poll, and it's the reason I'm so bullish and optimistic about the cavalry.
Tells them they're wrong.
Says they're completely wrong. It's inflation, economy, actually even much more than crime, though I certainly concede around the edges crime is a big issue.
Can you imagine in a moment where gas prices are up 61% under this presidency, that the president took to the podium today to deliver the message that he did 20 days to Election Day? Can you believe that his solution to tell the American people who are suffering through this is to demonize the oil companies?
It's their fault.
Living in a free market capitalist society where, since when does government dictate private business and how they invest their money? I mean, that was a remarkable moment.
They're asleep. It's their fault because they're asleep. They don't want to really produce oil and gas. That's the whole problem. They're in revolt.
What I would add on that is that I've always believed that elections have a way of crystallizing the thoughts, right? We can do this big build-up for the next 3 weeks, but on November 9th, we're going to look at the results and say to ourselves, well, okay, that makes sense. That's obvious. And I think that'll be the case here. The question then becomes, if Barack Obama was handed a shellacking in 2010, they lost 63 House seats. Well, how many do you lose this time? I don't know that answer, but I would ask those in Washington who cover these stories, do they believe this administration is capable of making a pivot? Do they really have the desire to do that?
Well, they would have done that by now, because the margins of victory are shrinking.
Well, it's also true what Kellyanne said last night. Remember, the Republicans gave him a shellacking in the House last time. That was in the bank. This is going to come on top of that. So you're going to wind up with, I don't know, 70, 80 new Republican House members for the 2 elections, which is powerful stuff. I can't answer your question about whether Biden pivots or not, whether he's smart enough. I don't think he's a Bill Clinton. But what I do know is for sure the issues here are inflation, economy, recession. They are not abortion. They are not Donald Trump and MAGA. They are not. I'm sorry. And the Democrats knew that. And I thought, Sandra, I'll give you the last word. Their whole campaign was nothing but a distraction, and it didn't work.
Bloomberg headline today, I thought, said it all. There are more and more Americans every day seeking second and third jobs just to pay for this inflation. That's real, tangible stuff that people at home are feeling. Right. They'll take that to the ballot box.
I got to go. The producers.
I know. They're yelling at me. It's
Hammer.
It's
Sandra Smith, Bill Hammer. You guys are totally fabulous. Sandra's on America Reports weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Mike Lawler's on tomorrow.
Bill's on America's Newsroom weekdays at 9 to 10 p.m. 2 of the best, my friends. Thank you, kids. You're wonderful.